Welcome, everyone. We are going to start with a prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and then roll call. We are going to make an adjustment on the agenda a little bit. And yeah, Cheryl is printing off something, but she can probably miss the first 1 minute. Dear Father, we thank you for this day and the freedom to meet. We ask for your blessings for our community. We ask for wisdom in our decision-making this evening. Thank you for the freedoms that we have been allowed to enjoy. Thank you for those who serve and protect our community. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's nice to see all of you here. Standing room only, that's great.
You should come more often.
Yeah, really, come all the time. So, roll call, please.
Ridgway.
Present.
Barth.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Beverly.
Here.
Bassett.
Here.
Baker.
Here.
I would like to amend the agenda to show that we're having the annual joint meeting with the township trustees and the village council. If someone would make that motion and second it.
I'll make a
That
motion.
motion, Mayor.
Second.
And Larry will second. Roll call, please.
Baker.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Beverly. Jones.
Yes.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Would you take roll call, please, Cheryl, of the joint members?
Collins.
Yes.
Seedyke.
Yes.
Metz. I was trying to say Green. Okay. Just three.
Okay. I believe in our discussions before the meeting started that nothing's changing. There's no one that's going off. Sheila, we appointed you as a representative from council, and so you're willing to stay on that, right?
Sure.
Okay, all right. So I think it would be appropriate to make a motion to keep the commission the same as what it is.
Yep.
So someone want to make that motion and second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
And the township trustees, please.
Seedyke.
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
Metz.
Okay. Do you have any other discussions regarding for the annual meeting?
I guess I do a little bit.
Okay.
I'd like to thank everybody in the community for their cooperation, and the cleanup this spring went real smooth, so I appreciate that. That was real good. I was told today that little flags on the grave sites will be put out this Saturday, so the little ones. The large flags that was along the road last year, hopefully we get them out on the 18th. That'll be a week from this Friday. And I still have some sponsorships open, so if anybody's interested in them, they're $25 a flag. All the proceeds go back to the cemetery, and all the money. So if anybody's interested, give me a buzz and we'll make it work. I need to get them into Mike as soon as I can so he can get them laminated so I can put the card on your flag. So that's all I got for the cemetery.
The cemetery looks very nice, and you guys are doing a great job, all of you involved.
They do a good job.
Very good.
Cheryl Miller's on that cemetery board, too.
She's our clerk. She's not on the board.
Okay, all right.
Don Brown's our other board member.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you. Any other business before we move to adjourn the annual meeting? Okay. Motion, please.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Ridgway,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Metz,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Siedite.
Yes.
You guys are doing pretty good remembering that. We kind of slipped up this year. Okay. We will go on down the agenda then. You have the regular council meeting minutes from April 16th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Bassett,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Next in your packet is the approved bills list.
I have a question. Chief Stickney, police hat embroidery for $547 at Bill's Locker Room.
That wasn't just a hat, that was all the uniforms we had. That's like, I don't know the exact number of the shirts, but that's like a couple shirts for everybody. And there was a hat, yes.
So that was embroidering a couple shirts for everybody and a hat.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
I move we approve the bills.
Hang on a second. Ron.
Okay.
Park restroom inspection, $1,617. What's that about? From TTL Associates Incorporated.
That's the slough and concrete and all that. The slough testing, that's part of it. That's all done. That comes out of Borderline's PO for that.
I thought that was all included in MBA.
No, that was separate.
Okay. Sewer flow metering, 900. This is the one I beat on all the time. Haven't we had enough rain to eliminate that?
And we've asked the EPA to back off those meters and everything else, and they said, we need data now, back when we started it, and then at the end. We've asked to pull them. They want data, show them numbers. Which is sad, but
Yes. And the 3 vacuum cleaners, we needed them, huh?
Have you been to my office?
Yes. Tile floor.
Yeah, it took a dump, the old one, that's why we replaced it. It was smoking every time we plugged it in and turned it on, so.
According to this, was about 3.
I think one was down for here, for this building,
Only about 2.
and one's for the sewer plant.
Administrator, municipal, and sewer.
Where's that at?
3 of them. Don't worry about it. Okay.
So I guess another one I had, Chief Stickney again, police, Remington 870s, 2 of them, and whatever, police equipment, BBL assembly,
That was the stuff that I told you about at the committee meeting the last time.
the less lethal weapons. I thought they were cheaper than that.
The total of the 4 of the guns and 4 barrels, for the short barrels for the shotguns we have, that total should have been right about $2,000, I believe.
Did you tell the committee those were used?
Yes.
They are
Yeah.
used?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Go ahead, Ron.
I move we approve the bills.
second.
Roll call, please.
Jones,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Ridgway,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Baker,
Yep.
Bassett.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, you have in your packet a notice of a public hearing to rezone 529 Spencerville Street, May 10th at 6 PM in the zoning office. There's actually 2. 527 Spencerville Street and 529 Spencerville Street. So then we go on to the Park Board minutes from the April 18th meeting. Is there anyone here from the Park Board to give a report? Do you have anything you want to report, Rick? If you do, you can go to the podium, please.
We need approval from council to hire 3 new lifeguards pending their drug screening, physical, and lifeguard certification. One of the kids are Sarah Contreras and Shelby North and Boston Hoopman. And I talked to Val today, and she said, we need to get council approval to hire them pending everything else that they have to go through.
Have they completed their training, their lifeguard class?
I do not know.
Okay.
It's pending their drug screening, their physical, and their lifeguard certification.
Okay,
As long as they, way I understand, as long as they take care of that, and that's all complete and turned in to Gary and Val, then that'll be, they'll be ready to go.
okay. Do I have the names right as Sarah Contreras, Shelby North, and Boston Houston?
Hoopman,
Hoopman,
Hootman.
oh, Sari. Okay. Well, I'll move to approve. I'll recommend those 3 young people for lifeguards.
All right.
I'll make the recommendation for the mayor to hire the 3.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Baker.
Yep.
Barth.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
And it looks like everything's going well up to Park. The restrooms over at Froggy Park are, been hearing a lot of good things. People are really excited to see that coming up. And I think I got a email from Jim, and it looks like we've got about 2 weeks, and they should be about wrapping it up over there. So everything's looking really well. We had a little incident up at the park with this windstorm that we had. So hopefully that's all. Val sent me a text tonight that the company that does the fencing is going to come up and examine it tomorrow to give us, it's okay to the way it is so they can play ball. So we'll know that tomorrow.
Well, that's nice that we had some people that took the initiative to repair that, so the village didn't have the cost of repairing that fence. And
Yep.
we appreciate those people who did that.
Right.
And the park looks great.
Thank you. Yep. We'll try to keep it up.
The pool's open in the first week of June, I assume?
Yes. And then ball season's getting ready to start here, one more week. Ball
Okay.
season starts.
I haven't been over there, but did the pool house get painted by the mission group that was coming to
Yes,
town?
it did. Yep.
Good, I'll have to go look at it.
Yeah. The weather was kind of wishy-washy for them, but yeah, they did finally get it. Took them 2 or 3 days to get it painted because of the weather.
Well, that was nice someone came and did that.
Yep.
Thanks for coming, Rick.
Thank you.
Okay. Cemetery minutes from the April 24th meeting are in the packet. Sheila, do you have any comments?
Zane pretty much told the story on that about the $25 donation for the memory flags, and all the money goes back to the cemetery for the upkeep. And we discussed a few things that we'd like to do out there, more stone for the driveway, and the great idea, I think, is putting a footer in front of the statue to hold the flags and the kind of concrete little metal holders to,
We're at the unknown soldier.
yeah.
Sounds nice.
Good idea.
footer or put a pad in front of it?
That's what it is.
Just
Right.
just a footer.
Just a footer?
2
Slab.
foot out and about, and the width of the foundation.
And we talked about the curbs on the turns, and they're still looking into that. I think it's a good idea, but Zane.
Anybody have any?
No.
Zane does it. That's why we have a democracy. Anybody have any questions? All right. Thank you, Sheila. Thanks, Zane. We'll go on to the HIX-TV board. The minutes from the April 4th meeting are in the packets. Does anyone have any questions for Mike Barth?
And we're back up and running. I know we had some issues here the last couple of weeks with some equipment. We're not back up and running. We're gonna be patient.
We're sort of running, we're on the air, but I'm still waiting for DJ to get things organized so we can have somebody come in and actually repair the hard drive. So I'm hoping that we'll be back up and running by the end of the week.
So we're not live.
We are live.
Oh, we're live right now.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like I said, it's intermittent because we have 2 hard drives holding all of our programs as digital memory. One of those broke and died. So depending on where the programs are located on those hard drives, some play, some don't. But the slideshow is constantly running and so forth. And we've talked with Leetronic, so we know what we have to do to repair it. I just need to get DJ to free up some time to send a tech out to actually do it. So.
Thanks, Bill.
Great. Any questions? Okay. Going on, the Planning Commission met May 3rd, and their minutes are in the packet. They are?
The results are on the opposite side.
Oh. Okay. And then, okay, that's what that was about, the lot split, right? All right. So then we are going on to the council. Oh, are there any other boards or commissions? Anybody else? How's anything?
Discuss streetlight property.
We are going to go down there at when we're gonna start the committee reports right now, Ron.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
So we'll start with the Police, Fire, and EMS Committee, met April 16th. The minutes are in the packet.
We met before the last council meeting, and I actually discussed all these items that night, just kind of typed them up and turned the minutes. And we also had a Police, Fire, EMS meeting tonight before the council meeting. Not going to go into great detail because I know Chief Solkoff's going to talk about some stuff here tonight, but we did talk about the write-offs that Ron had asked for some clarification on. And he also gave us a lot of the poverty levels, what Medicaid's paid, and what we've collected so far for billing for 2018. And we also discussed possibility of implementing and starting a paramedic program, kind of making our EMS, I guess, be sustainable, be able to get a lot more money coming in, more revenue. And that he's sending some letters out right now to people around the community. And they might be surprised, I guess. Some of them are getting bills for some past EMS runs, and so expect to hear some calls, maybe some complaints, and also some grants that they have filled out and turned in. So I'll have the minutes for the next meeting. So.
Okay, thank you. Chief, I'm gonna call on you during your normal report, so at that time. So then we'll go on to the Streetlight Property and Sidewalk Committee, met April 24th. And there are minutes from them in the packet.
We talked, the very first part of it, we talked about handicap ramp and on the north side of the street. We kind of thought we don't need it because I still call it the EUB Church in the center of town. They have one right there, and there's also a nice driveway that goes in beside of the church that goes to their handicap ramp to access the building. Down in front of Huber, that's where you pull in the alley, and there's handicap parking there to unload and get into that building. Also to tie in the letter that we got from Marcus, I'm stating this on my own, not through the committee. What does full council want to do? Do you want to put some handicap spots on the north side? Leave it alone? What would full council like to do? We voted, all three of us voted to let it go. We're thinking with the two spots, the church and Huber, and then I don't know what more to do. But I also realize it's a problem for anybody that's in a chair. So if I could have some input on that before I go on.
So right now, there's 2 on the north side,
There's
By the church.
Church
By the
has
church.
one designated, they
Huber.
put their own sign, everything.
and then
else.
by the Huber, and then by the church there.
Correct.
And as
Okay.
Marcus stated, there's only one that's suitable for a van.
Correct.
Right.
On that side of the street.
Yeah, only one in the whole town, right? Yeah.
2 in front of the
Pharmacy.
pharmacy are legal, handicap, ADA, van accessible.
Always thought beside, between the alley there, between the Huber and the Tribune, if somebody's in a wheelchair, needs to have the ramp to not have to deal with the traffic uptown, that would be a prime spot for them to park, get out, maybe go to the Huber or any other places down that side of the street.
And I
It'd be
was
a lot
thinking
easier
that
for 'em.
somebody made the comment that those were, and they just get parked full.
Sometimes, I think in the mornings when the volunteers are there for the Huber, and sometimes when they have events there, during practices, people will park there. That's usually later in
In
the
effect,
evening.
that's private property, isn't it?
Those are not official handicap parking.
Right, they're not official. But it's city-owned property.
It is city?
Yeah, right up to
So
the
we could
building.
make them
Yeah, you
handicap
could.
van accessible. Tight, it would be up against your building. This is where you're talking.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's there's 3 or 4 spots right there that, at certain times of the day, if you want to make them handicap accessible and regulate them towards that means.
Could a person with a van get out there?
You would have to back into the spot. You would pull
Be more
in the
parallel.
one-way parking, and then you'd have to back over into that spot. But 99% of handicap vans, you exit on the passenger side.
It's just a thought to help that side of, people
Sure.
want to shop or visit or. go to
And
the-
really, if a person were coming uptown with a handicap van and they just wanted to pull in there along the Tribune to park, there's nothing to keep them from
No,
just
absolutely
pulling
not.
in the opposite direction of what the signs are pointed and parking there.
Correct.
I mean,
So there is signs there at that point, right?
Well, they're. the church put 'em
Unofficial
up there,
signs.
So for Sunday mornings, for their
Okay.
congregation.
If you want it enforced, we can't do anything with it until you mark it properly. There's signs there, yes.
And what do we have to do to market properly?
all of the paint on the ground and.
Yeah, you'd have to paint it with the blocked out van
Signs-
door
signs.
accessibility.
I think that's a good idea, at least one there, make it official, so, personally.
Official sign at the right height. and-
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, with
The church, the driveway to go into the church is
Right.
right here. They have theirs right now
Mhm.
here. If you moved over here, you would only lose one parking space because you could
Yeah.
put the no parking in effect in where you would pull in the driveway. And once the person was unloaded, you could still get in and out. And that way we'd only use one spot.
Well, if we're in agreement that another one would be nice, can we send that back to the committee to make that decision? That'd be okay?
Well, I think the decision was just made.
Yeah, I think we need to do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
As to where you want it was made?
Just what he said right there, because we don't want to be wasting one, or getting rid of one, yeah, losing one.
Okay.
And then possibly we could strike the ones against the Tribune building, at least two. Was there room for three there?
Length of the bill, yep, I
Could
think
be,
so.
I think.
We could do
Yeah.
two or probably two. So we could do two against the Tribune building, striped and marked ADA accessible, and do one in front of, is that Christ Covered there now, the first building? Do one there, and that'll put three on that side of the
Yeah.
street.
A lot better.
We all agree?
Yeah.
How about that, Jim?
So I understand you. You're talking about taking the crosshatch that's already hashed out, and making that part of the van accessible?
Where is that at?
I don't know, we have some.
In front of Christ cupboard.
We have some on this side, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's yellow, sometimes it's white, rarely it's white, but they'll take the end of a block or something and they'll cross-hatch it out.
Right. If this is the church and this is the next building over, this is the driveway, go into where they have that ramp on the church.
Oh, yeah.
Take this first spot, and then you can put your hash
I see,
out
okay.
here, and it will extend into this drive, but
And you'll get your ADA required
exactly.
distance without taking more than one spot, I
Exactly.
see.
And then come up here at the Tribune, where you would pull into the Huber, and we have this parking along here. Put one or two, I guess two would be adequate. Put two right there with the accessibility hatch here.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So you and I can get together on this.
Sure.
And hash out the minutia.
Sure.
They don't leave the ramps down?
No.
They put them back up,
Yeah.
so the driveway be tied up maybe 10 minutes.
At the most, yeah.
Okay.
Well, with our senior population that we have, I'm sure that will be very much appreciated also. Anything else then from the?
And then, some of committee thinks that we should have Jim check into timing our lights uptown. A lot of towns that you go through, there are times, if you run, if say the speed limit's 20, if you come into town at 20, you can catch all the lights and never stop. Here, you pretty much stop at every one. There's a 2-1 vote on that. It can't hurt for Jim to check into it to see if the state would allow it, if the state would do it.
State don't care.
We set our own timers, don't we?
We do.
I thought they maintained those lights, did everything with those lights.
Nope.
Okay.
I had someone ask me if we would eliminate on
Shell
Bryan Street at the Shell station.
Wasn't me.
No.
Did you get
no,
asked that?
We can time that one with Maple. Here's the problem. When you all did the downtown and all the lights were put in and whatnot, a new software system was put in for that light at Maple, but not at High and Main. That one's the old, I don't have the key on me. It's the old go in there and manually change it. The one down here, when the time changes, it automatically changes, so it knows to put the yellow blinkers on an hour later or an hour earlier. This one we have to manually change. We can synchronize High and Bryan with High and Maple, but then you're always gonna have that one in the middle there, that pesky middle light. You either catch it or you don't. Punch it, maybe you make it through, and
Don't punch it.
don't punch it. Slow down and let it turn green.
Did you get asked to eliminate the traffic signal? Like, someone
Shell
asked me to
station.
keep that Shell station, Bryan, always yellow. I just am passing it on.
It was asked of me, and I thought very negative about it.
Okay.
Next thing is, Troy, we need to revisit the sidewalk ordinance.
Okay.
And include in it that landowners and contractors must remove the concrete. They can't just leave it laying in the easement till whenever. Whenever they tear it out and put their new walk in, whether they do it themselves or the contractor, the concrete must leave at that time.
Boy, we're getting awful micromanaging. We gotta tell them to do that.
Zoning for building materials?
Excuse me?
Isn't that covered under zoning for building materials being left laying?
Well, we just thought it would be
We're gonna
more
have,
effective. as it
we're
could-
gonna have 4 books of code here pretty soon.
Well, we could use 4. We'll build a new shelf. But there's 4 areas that have been brought to my attention where the concrete is laid for over a year. So That was a 3 vote. We all voted yes, we need to do that. Of course, we wanted to try to bid out any of the sidewalk replacement that's going to be assessed, hopefully making it cheaper for everybody involved. And the next 2 are for you, Jim. We'd really like to see those 2 happen as soon as we can.
Bunnell's easy, we just need like a full day when we don't have nothing to do, and that's been impossible lately. It's all hands on deck with the things that have been going on.
So you're gonna curb that, is that what you're thinking about doing? on Bonnell?
Yeah, and put a catch basin in there next to this, pipe, the
Think trucks
standpipe.
won't knock that curbing over?
Oh, sure they will.
Well, put a good one in there.
That's what I
Yeah,
was
we'll
wondering.
rebar it and whatnot and see how many years it takes them to beat it up. Just what's gonna happen when these roads are this narrow, they're gonna run over it, so.
And the other thing, so that it's public knowledge, Kent had Den and Drive set up where it was gonna be a complete tear out, and then go in and pave it. Extremely expensive. The curb flow line is all poured together. There's not much base under it, that's why the concrete let go, so it's gonna be extremely expensive. But there's only really 2 bad spots in it. So committee would like to see, and we've talked with Jim about it, we would like to see him just go out and patch those 2 bad spots and then take some of the money that was gonna be spent there and fix up some of these side streets that have just gotten really torn up bad over the winter, and with down by the fairgrounds on Hicks and all the milk trucks and everything. We've got a lot of streets that need a lot of attention, so we think that Jim could better spend his money than doing Den and Drive, doing the entire thing.
Get your requests in.
Wish list.
So we wanted to bring that.
Get your wish list
so that
in,
we
right.
can go ahead and do the planning. And something that was complained about, I stopped at the village administrator's office the other day, and the guys had shown me where it is being rectified. One is complete, I believe, and the other one is being worked on, and that is the village golf carts. They aren't completely compliant with the golf cart ordinance. We think it's wrote into the ordinance itself that the village doesn't need to, it's taxpayer money, so why? But there's people with golf carts that have to change theirs and make them street legal, and they want the village to be street legal, so Jim is doing that.
I don't believe it is written into the ordinance.
I don't, I
looked at it,
looked
it
it
doesn't
up,
exempt village
and
vehicles, and I was the one that suggested that what's good for the goose, even if it's village money, we're requiring everybody else to do it, we might.
Well,
as well do it.
and like I say, they've already worked on one.
And some of them are safety issues too, and if we're gonna have
Sure,
our people
sure.
riding them on the street or whatever, we should have the same safety that everybody else has.
So by saying that, you're also saying that the golf carts can't go down the sidewalk?
No, that's the only place the village can ride, theirs is the sidewalk.
Not if they're,
Not if they're street
not
legal.
if they're street legal. Turn
Well,
signals, rearview mirror, brake lights,
Catch
hazard lights.
22.
Catch-22, yeah.
I had to make my golf cart legal.
Let me give you the names of the people that contacted me, and you give them a jingle and see what they think about
They,
that.
they write them on the sidewalks for reading the meters.
Correctly.
So why make it street legal if they're not even driven on the road?
Because
I think they probably are.
They gotta get to the side, I mean,
Yeah, they gotta get.
you can't
to the
cross
sidewalk.
from one side of Maine to the other side of Maine without
Right.
getting on the street.
Right.
I mean. you're
I
right,
looked at other
crosswalk.
couple ordinances in other communities, and they have the paragraph in there that states that the villages are exempt. I'm not saying that's right or
Right,
wrong.
I've
I'm
I've
just-
seen it both ways, yeah.
Our sidewalk ordinance also states that no vehicles can be driven over the sidewalks on them, that weren't meant to be on sidewalks.
Didn't you have something to do tonight?
Long-term, radio reads take care of that. You can drive by with the truck. We still got those pop reads where you gotta run by, and Troy is very good at it. He runs by with the stick, and he can be pretty efficient. And as far as aging on your receivables goes, you wanna get those reads in as quick as possible so you can get the bills out as quick as possible, so you don't have a 30, 60, 90-day huge arrears. But having said all that, that means we need to bump it up, and I think we just need to get all of our meters done next year, so that they're all radio read. Because we still have quite a few out there that are, you gotta tap them.
So what you want to do is get our golf cart compliant, is that?
Let's look at it again. Why don't we pass an ordinance that says we are exempt? That way we won't have to do it. And within a year or so, and we are all radio read, we won't have them out there anyhow.
Or like a temporary exemption until all the radio
Can we
reads
do
are
that,
in.
solicitor?
I mean, we could write it as an exemption, yeah. That's what you want to do.
How does
And then
council
once
feel
we
about that?
no longer need golf carts, then you could still put it in there.
What about the injuries and stuff that you were talking about that we needed to?
Well, I guess I was under the assumption they were also being operated on the road. If they're being operated on the road,
I'm sure
then
they-
for insurance purposes and things like that,
You
we're
said
probably
they
better
are.
off to require them to have seat belts and turn signals and all that
How
stuff.
much would it cost to convert them over, Jim?
And don't you guys use
Well,
one at
not
the
much.
Couple
fair?
$100?
Do you use one at the
Yeah, a little more than that.
Compliant and be done with
Electrical
it.
work for the turn signals mostly.
About 400 a unit.
Yeah, it's got brake lights already and,
You have seat belts?
And you have
Is
2
yours
units?
legal?
yes, the one
Yeah.
does. Yeah,
2
the
golf carts?
The other one still needs a seatbelt.
You're shaking your head no.
I
You.
said not 100%.
Oh, okay. I thought
It
you.
has turn signals, but they probably need replaced because it's not working. I don't think it has seat belts. And it doesn't, never even near does it.
No, it doesn't.
Does it have a horn?
No, it doesn't.
Hazard lights?
Yes. When they work.
This is yours.
It does have a, does it have a license plate light
I
that
think
lights
we-
up for the rear?
Need them legalized.
I think it needs to be legalized.
So you guys are violating the law, too.
And what's a requirement.
Not just
I
We
think
drive
it
ours on
needs
free,
Okay.
but we do have turn signals and brake lights.
Yes?
Yes.
to- It's on the road at certain times and at times it's
Yes.
driveway.
What you asked them.
Make them legal?
Yeah.
Make them legal, Jimmy.
All right.
Okay, that was settled. We're making our golf courts legal, the same requirements that we make everybody else.
First, we gotta get ours to run though.
So,
No need for it to be legal. It's not running.
Good, well, you might want to tow it.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have anything else, Ron?
That's it, ma'am, thank you.
All right, does anybody have any questions for Ron? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. Okay, let's see where we're at here. Do we have any other committee reports of council that,
Finance met tonight, audited the books through April, and I'll have the minutes in the next meeting. We made some other decisions also, about transferring money,
okay,
so that's all I've got.
okay. Any other committees? All right. Roberta, where's Roberta? You're up.
Well-
You, what? Wait.
She might be a while. I wanna, because we have a lot of firemen here. I'll go back to committee. Can I do that?
Sure.
I'd like to address, something we had made a decision on, last meeting about
You
the
want to
fire
talk
truck.
about this letter?
We can,
Let's do it.
we can.
Can I speak?
I want to know who wrote that.
I did.
Your wife? Your wife?
I did.
Really? It was
Thanks, Roberta.
very well written.
She might have tweaked it a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say she took the
Yeah,
customers out.
she made it politically correct. Very disappointed in this council on their backward thinking on Tower 501 issue. Most of you have not even seen the truck yet voted no on repairing it. Yes, it is an older truck, yet it is in good condition. The previous department had changed the cab, completely stripped and painted the entire truck. We've had guys put numerous hours in finishing up wiring and checking everything out. This truck is a great asset to the village. To sit there and say the building will be burnt to the ground before we even get it set up is just negative thinking. To make that statement tells me that you have no confidence in the fire department. This truck can be set up in an operation in a matter of minutes. As council members, I ask you to rethink the issue of fixing the tower. To begin with, I'm not asking for any money out of the general fund. The money is available in the fire budget. On Wednesday morning after the paper was out, I started receiving phone calls asking questions as to what is council thinking. They won't pay $6,000 to fix a truck we already have and is needed, but we can spend $63,000 to buy property that they really don't need. I can have the money raised in a short amount of time to make the repair. However, that's not fair to the taxpayers, to give up money to repair a truck that they already pay taxes to maintain. It will not make council look good. For you to say that we don't need a truck like that, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. This is just more backward thinking. We need to look at the current needs and future needs. This truck not only services the village, but almost a quarter of the county. For that truck to just sit there and rot away is just wrong. What if there's that one call using the truck that could have saved a life or structure and it's just sitting there because you voted no to repair it? Yes, we have mutual aid and access to similar equipment, but the time delay alone can make a big difference in the outcome. This truck can be used for more than just spraying water. When working on a second-story roof ventilation is a huge safety factor. The firefighter can be tethered to the ladder with a safety line. If they lose footing and slip, they're only going to the end of the safety line and not the ground, resulting in an injury or even death. Think of the safety aspect alone. What if a construction crew is working on one of the factory roofs and has a medical emergency? This truck will be able to get them off of the roof. This would be easier than trying to slide a Stokes basket down the ladder. We have had a run like that in the past, but fortunately the crew had a man lift there and we were able to bring him down that way. Last month we had training with Hicksville Grain on grain bin rescue. They said it's nice that you have a ladder now for grain bin rescues if needed. There are numerous other situations where this truck would be beneficial. I also feel that if this council is going to make decisions to tell me how to run this department, they probably should know more than they do. I invite all of you to come to our trainings and learn. There's a lot more to being a firefighter than just spraying water on fires. It takes 6 months of training just to be certified as a firefighter. We've spent numerous hours away from their family for training and runs just to give back to their community. Let me also remind you that the money that the Fire Association and Ladies Auxiliary raise saves the village. We replace an aging equipment truck with a bus that our association purchased, redesigned it to fit our needs, and spent less than $1,000 of taxpayer money on it. We purchased a roof saw in December to replace an aging saw that was not reliable. That was over a $1,000 purchase. We do not have a lot of frivolous items just for show. We get by with what we have and don't frivolously spend the money.
I would like to thank the firemen, since they're all here, for the work that they personally do to all of our fire trucks when there's some things that need to be repaired.
And I didn't ask these guys to come here. They came on their own.
It's nice to see them.
Some towns similar to ours that has ladder trucks. Why do we need one? Because they have them. Montpelier, Archbold, Bryan, Wauseon, Napoleon, Ottawa, Fort Recovery, Cary, Bluffton, Ada, Perry Township, New Bremen, Allen Township, Van Buren, Ohio, Morenci, Michigan, Fremont, Indiana, Butler, Indiana, Ashley, Indiana, St. Joe Township, Indiana, Grable, Indiana. They all see the need for it. Why don't we?
If I can address real quick, Scott, when I used to sit on fire committee and stuff, I know years ago you would talk about a ladder truck someday and being able to buy one. I know the new ones are very, very expensive. I think you had a great opportunity when you purchased this used one. When you do buy used, sometimes you don't know what completely is underneath the hood or underneath the body. I think the expense, you guys are a great asset for our community. I know you work hard and due diligence and your volunteerism and your time you put in the department. I thought it was a good buy when you bought it. I didn't have a problem when you guys purchased it, and I didn't have a problem with the repairs. I wanted to readdress it with council. We talked and talked to some other people in town. I think it's an asset for the community, both safety, both for the firemen and for the structures and for anybody in those structures to have, like you said. So I've said my piece. I'd like to bring it back to council though.
I got one question. I'm new here, of course, but back in November, you guys had the levy passed. Now, I'm not sure what the money was appropriated for the levy, the millage. Now, the money doesn't come out of that, or am I wrong here?
Repairs. We have a budget just for repairs.
But
To purchase it, there was money there to purchase it.
He said it earlier, Larry, it won't be general
yeah,
fund.
I realize that, but I was just wondering what the levy money was for
Oh,
when they passed the levy.
It was for operation wages,
And that would be coming out
fire
of part
and
of this,
EMS.
thing, correct?
Yes.
All right.
I was on the fire department several years ago, back in the 80s. And it's all volunteer, and I thank you for that. And just little things like that helps your morale, I guess not morale, but just keep you fired up. So I think Yeah, literally.
Fun.
Yeah, but.
Walk out of here and get thumped on.
Yeah, but just to keep people enjoying what they're doing and show appreciation of the volunteer work you put into it, and pride. I guess that's the word I'm looking for, pride. So I think that's $6,000 to keep that going.
I'll say, I voted no last time, and reason for it was because you brought it to council that night, and we were voting that night, and never had a chance to ever even see the fire truck, see what kind of shape it was in. And if something's getting thrown to me at the last minute, asking for approval, I erred the side of caution, so I didn't have a chance to talk to any of the volunteer firemen, see what they thought about it, if it was needed or if it was a want. I didn't have a chance to ever look at it before, which Larry and I walked over that night and looked at it, and so I have a different thought process on it now than what I did last time.
Bring it on.
Let me address this first. They won't spend $6,000 to fix a truck we already have and needed, but to spend $63,000 to buy a property that they really don't need. I can buy one of those trucks any day of the week you want me to buy it, but you only had one shot in a lifetime to buy that ground and leave it park. I don't want anybody in this community to say that we just frivolously blew $63,000. We don't want homes or condos setting at the edge of our park or built up against our memorial.
I understand that.
Well, it doesn't sound like you understand.
That was a quote from somebody else. It's in quotation marks.
Talk like that. And what if the call that using the truck could have saved a life or structure is just sitting there because you voted not to repair it? You've had that truck for what, 6, 8, 9 months. It's never been to a fire that I know of. So what would you do then? What did you do then?
We ran on luck like we do with a lot of things.
Okay.
We've never had one before either. We didn't have the opportunity. It was a new piece of equipment to us. We've spent a lot of time training on that as well.
Okay, but we got by without it. I know I'm backwards thinking here, but you said right about where Roberta is the day of the meeting to get you to check authorized for an immediate payment for that thing. And you said, the only reason we're getting it is because if we own that truck, we can get a new one through the state funding or federal funding, and it won't cost us anything. I voted no. I know it's an old truck. I've owned way too many old trucks. I know what they cost a person. So now you've got a transmission, and you haven't even had it out running it, and the transmission's out. Now that old 318 Detroit's going to give out on you. A 1984 truck is just money after money after money. And they sit. There's nothing harder on a truck than to sit. If you tell me tomorrow, hey, let's take that old truck and we've got a grant that we can get a new one with, and they're just gonna take this, we're in.
It has to be an operating truck in service to replace it with a grant.
That's not what you said that night. I mean, I've been on here 12, 13, 14 years, I don't know. And anything you guys ever wanted, I got behind you. I don't know if you know that or not. No?
I don't think so.
Well, you're not on that team anyhow, so. I just can't see spending money after money after money on that truck. It's too old.
I don't think you're gonna be spending money after money. We've been training on it, using it, operating it. Everything else is working.
So far.
This was just a fluke
There's
thing.
a 2004, the
But
newest truck
doesn't
we have.
somebody have to be trained?
It's a
to
crapshoot
use
if that
it,
thing's
and
gonna
they're not
run.
even trained to use it?
Because it sits there. But it's a piece of insurance. If we do need it, hopefully it's gonna work. But I would be willing to bet that once we get that tower up and running, that's gonna be more dependable because it's mechanical. You don't have to be a computer whiz to operate it than the newest truck we got.
Our fleet,
Go ahead. If 504 or something, which is the newest truck, which is a 2004, 2005, or whatever, that's all electronics. And we've had multiple problems with that thing.
We've had more trouble with that than we have any other truck.
you know, the Pierce, when we got that, it was, I remember reading, it was quoted in the paper as lemon. And it was at the time. And since then, I feel that 503 is a lot better truck than 504 because it's got the bugs worked out.
That's
It's
a
all
28-year-old
mechanical,
truck.
And we can figure that out. That electronic one, what are we gonna do? Oh, sorry, your house is gonna burn down. We gotta get a hold of, well, that company isn't even in business anymore. Come out and find
So
somebody.
take that $6,000 and put it towards money to replace that truck.
Okay, that'll get you $6,000. That might get you a jump seat on a new one to replace that truck.
Mike Barth would like to say something.
I do? No. I appreciate everybody being here. I said it a couple meetings ago, our fleet is old. And we've had times when you've come and said, you know, we need to revolve, you know, change some of those trucks and our police cruisers and our EMSs, but we have a habit of keeping them up to code, using them. I'm very proud of our fire department. We have an old fleet, but we have an outstanding fire department. It's because you guys have put your time and energy in. We have a bus over there that if you would have looked at bus 2 years ago, would have sit in the back of our church and look at it today. It's amazing what the people that have volunteered their time and the other businesses in town have made that bus into, and you know, to help with the fire department. I think you guys are gonna do a good job. When you buy something new, you don't always know what you're gonna get into. Like I said before, I know you guys are gonna put in the time and the effort to keep them up, keep them running the best you can, and there's times when you're gonna have to send those units out to get them repaired somewhere else. I still think it's an asset, and I want to put if I can't put a motion back on the floor, unless somebody else wants to talk about it, to go ahead and make the purchase to fix the ladder truck.
You could have not even come to council and say, hey, I want to spend $6,000.
Right. I could have just took it over and got it
fixed. We just saw the bills and you'd have got, so I guess
I'm surprised you didn't do it that way because that's the way it was purchased, wasn't it?
the
It went to
committee.
committee.
The committee.
I told him sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness than ask permission.
Yeah, so
It's usually true.
I'll try that with Rose.
So does anyone, we have a motion to pay for the repairs. Is there any more comments? Give me a second.
What about the next thing that happens to it? Are we gonna get another letter like this that if we don't vote yes, that we're pitiful people?
Are we worried about the other two mainline pumpers? Are you gonna say no, not paid for that one to repair it?
I think the bottom line is, I don't remember who said it, Mike, our fleet is aging quickly.
Mhm. And we bought an aging truck.
You need to start thinking about a new pumper.
So why aren't we thinking about that instead of a ladder truck?
I don't know.
We have been
That's not
discussing.
that's not my control. That's just my
Because
opinion.
having this truck
That's just my
is
opinion.
supposed to be toward a grant of purchasing a new truck. This is like a step in that direction.
At tanker capacity
You
too.
can't guarantee a grant. That's the goal, that's the end goal with the purchase of the ladder. But those are not guaranteed.
So let's
Because
buy a
you write a
pumper.
grant doesn't mean you're gonna get one.
Let's buy a pumper.
you got a motion.
Yes.
Who's second? I'll second it.
Okay.
Just go ahead.
Are you listening to what one of the firemen is saying to you?
Sure,
I don't think you did.
sure did.
We've talked about
We
that.
can sit here and argue about it for hours on end.
Here's the
It's to the point where we're either gonna vote on it yes or no, or
Roll call,
And
please.
lower- But
We're doing roll call.
Ridgway,
Yes.
Barth,
yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Beverly,
No.
Baker,
No.
Bassett.
yes.
There you go.
Thank you.
But I know, and another comment real quick, when you guys talk about your budgets every year, you guys look into, and I've seen them through the finance and through being on your committees years ago, you look at those new purchases down the road and how you're gonna afford them or how council's gonna afford them when that comes due. And I've always said as a councilman, me personally, when that pumper truck goes out, we gotta step up and buy a new one, period. We don't have time to wait and check things out. We've
Been working on that. That's a big purchase. That's a $500,000 purchase.
Absolutely.
We gotta figure out how we're gonna pay for it. but it has been discussed.
Send us.
Do next.
I think Roberta's next. Thank you, Roberta.
Are you sure?
Yeah. We're gonna spend some more money.
All right. Well, Mike asked me to, oh, excuse me? Yeah, I'm good, thanks. To stop in and talk with you guys about the asset management and the GIS program that Jim and I have talked about with Mike. I don't know if you want me just to kind of go through the scope of what we would do under that contract, or have you all seen the contract? Do you have questions for me? How do you want me to proceed?
Well, we haven't really seen the contract. We brought to council the proposal that, you know, they run each about 20,000 for your not company, your organization to work with our street and water and sanitary personnel to, one's an EPA mandated, the water asset management is EPA mandated. I think it started in October of this year.
Yes, they are currently saying, now the rules still have not been finalized, but they are saying that all public water systems have to have an asset management plan in place by October of this year. I think they're getting some pushback on that, obviously, because to do an asset management plan and to do it right takes much longer than 4 months, which is basically what you would have from the time the rules went into place until we got into October. So I'm kind of anticipating that that might change. I have heard, and I don't know that this is true or not, they're now talking about you have to have a plan by October. But again, I don't know what's going to ultimately come out in the rules. So it's best, you know, not to sort of drag your feet on it. We have developed a checklist, and did I get that to you yet, Jim, or not? Okay. So we have developed a checklist that we have been getting out to some of our smaller systems that's sort of designed to take you through the process if you wanted to do it on your own. It's still kind of a big process, but it's different from what's proposed here. So it's essentially gathering certain documents and then developing an inventory of your assets, which can take quite a bit of time on the part of your water and sewer staff. But again, that's only required for the water system. So what we, the first proposal that we had was the GIS proposal because Jim was interested in implementing a GIS program. And I think, her name escapes me, Jessie.
Jessie.
I think Jessie's been interested in that for some time too. We talked about this with her several years ago. So we have a proposal where we have one option where we can do all of your water, sanitary, and storm with curb stops or meter pits for $65,000. So that would be us going out, picking up all of the GPS locations for every asset that you have for your water, storm, and sewer. The second option was just to go with the water system because that was what was most pressing because of the asset management. And that was just the water system only without curb stops or meter pits because we have to have the folks here in town go out and mark those for us because we don't have the ability to find those underground things. So those would need to be marked, and I think Jessie had some concern about the amount of time that would take for the staff to do that. So that was $22,500 to just inventory all of the above ground infrastructure that you have related to the water system. Now, the great thing about GPS or having a GIS system is that as you work through the system, you can add to it. So when you're out there exercising valves or doing different things, you can start to capture those locations, and we can add them to your GIS system as you go. So it's something that continues to grow and develop over time. The main advantage to having a GIS system is that it can help out in a situation where you have like a water line break and you're trying to figure out what valves you need to shut off. You can bring it up, take a look at your system and know exactly where you need to go. It helps with people out in the field when they're repairing things, especially in the cold weather because you don't want to keep digging if you don't have to. And it just helps you with better management and tracking of maintenance that you perform so that you're staying on top of all of those preventative maintenance activities that you should be doing related to your utilities. So those are some of the main advantages of having GIS. Having GIS is not required as part of the asset management plan. And as I talked with Jim, you know, you guys are right about the threshold that could really actively manage a GIS system well based on your size and the ability of your staff. So I felt like it was a good opportunity for the village to do that. So
What is the additional cost of the GIS?
The GIS system for us to go out and collect is that $22,500 for the water. And that also includes, we have a GIS cooperative that we have developed, which is, so once you develop your GIS system, it's not just about collecting the data, it's an information management system. So you have to have somebody that knows how to use this software, that can get into it, make changes, update things, and do all the updates, and it's also expensive to have a license for it. So we have a cooperative where everybody who is a member of our cooperative, we sort of act as your GIS professional, and we keep all of the data up to date for you. Whenever you need to make changes, you send it to us, we add it to your maps. You're set up here with what they call ArcMap Reader, and everybody has a username and password. You can go in, you can look at your stuff, you can print off maps, you can do anything you want with it. We just maintain the data, and we make the changes because sometimes GPS data gets a little wonky if you're not really sure what you're doing with it. So
Esri based, right?
Esri, yeah. So we hold the
Kinda like
license.
Microsoft based. You know, it's very common.
Right.
Very used.
This is the premier GIS software that's out there. There's some other ones that are out there, and there's even some free GIS software, but it doesn't have the capacity and the storage that Esri has. So that's why we have gone with Esri. We maintain the license so that you don't have to incur that fee. We can come out and do trainings for you. We can do large printing for your maps if you wanted us to print big system maps for you as a member of the cooperative. So there's some advantage there, not just the cost savings.
And
So
being in a co-op, our people can't go in there and alter anything?
no, we don't allow that, because if the data becomes corrupt, then, we would have to have that fixed, and that's difficult to do. And I don't know how it might affect other people's data. I'm not that familiar with GIS. I know how to make a few maps, and that's about it. But
We can have it updated.
yes, you can absolutely have it updated. So anytime something, like if you're out in the field and you're making a repair, what some people do is they take photographs of what's there, and they upload that into their GIS system, and they make notes about the repair, and you can keep all of that data in your GIS system. So all you would need to do is email that to us, and we would put it up there. If you replace a water line, we can do that. If you extend something, we can add that.
Is there a fee for that? For adding?
No, not if you're a member of the cooperative, so it's an annual fee to be a member of the cooperative.
What's that?
It's based on the number of customers that you have, and I don't have that information in front of me. Well, let me see what she put here. It includes 1 year of the cooperative services, but she has that at, if you go with everything, the storm, the sanitary, and the water, that's $5,200 a year to be a member of the cooperative. If you go with just the water, it's $2,750. So that's one proposal. The next proposal is related to doing an asset management program, and that is in addition to or over what is required by the Ohio EPA. And this will give you the ability to really implement work order programs and do preventative maintenance schedules, and just have a real detailed management program of your facilities. So what goes along with that is we do an administrative review of your rules and regulations, and we make recommendations to you if there are changes or things that should be updated in that. We deal with customer complaints, procurement, succession planning. We'll make recommendations on that. And all of this goes along with any requirements that the EPA might put into place between now and the time that the rules are finalized. We will do the asset inventory, and if you go with the GIS, that will help put that asset inventory together, so there'll be a little work that you'll need to do with us in relation to that, and we'll prepare a map for that. We'll collect any of your construction and maintenance history in order to perform probability of failure, consequence of failure, and remaining useful life on all of your assets. And that is going to be required. That's going to be required by the EPA, so you have to have all of those components. We will help you develop level of service goals, which means for each of your assets, you identify what you want to do with them. If you have a small pump and you want to just let that run to failure, you can do that because it's a small, relatively inexpensive thing to replace or repair. So we would set you up for, okay, you've got 5 of these things, you need to keep 2 in inventory at all times. We help you identify those things. And we also help you identify for some of your more major assets, when do you want to do preventative maintenance activities on certain components, and that's all going to be scheduled out for you. We'll develop a 5, 10, and 20-year capital improvement plan for you. So as you mentioned, the meters, that would go into your capital improvement plan. And we will also help you develop long-term funding strategies. So we'll identify those items that you want to pay for out of your own village funds and those things that are much larger that you would need to seek public financing for. And we would help you assess which programs would be the best fit for those, so we can maximize grants and low-interest loans and things of that nature. We will calculate, or we will set up a budget for you with rate recommendations in order to support and fund your asset management plan. So we will do a rate study for you similar to what we've done on the sewer system before, but it'll be in terms of funding the asset management program, along with what might happen to the operating expenses over time. The hope is that you'd become more efficient. You might save some money over here while you're spending some money over there. So hopefully it doesn't get to be too cumbersome on the budgets. Then we prepare a report that we provide to you, a draft report for your review, and then we implement any changes after that. So that takes approximately 12 months to get through, which is why we've been saying to the EPA, you can't possibly ask people to implement an asset management program in this kind of a time frame. So depending on what they end up doing, we can work between the village and the EPA, if you have a contract with us, to make sure that we get what they need so that you can say that you're covered, and we'll continue to work on putting the rest of the program together.
What about if there's enough challenge to this ruling that it gets defeated?
It's already in law, so it's not that it's going to go away. It's just they're in the rulemaking process right now, and I'm not sure if the public comment period has ended or not, but they were taking public comments from people on what the rules are going to say. So it's going to happen eventually. I'm guessing it's not going to happen in October, but it might happen in March or October of next year. I mean, I really can't say.
So what's the cost difference between, water, sewer, storm for just asset management plan without the GIS?
The asset management plan is $20,000, so it would be $20,000 for each utility. We'd probably include the storm in with the sewer. So because sewer systems just aren't that complicated, we would just mostly identify where they are and do a quick condition assessment. Those aren't really regulated, so they don't have to be. We don't have to do those level of service goals and the useful life and all of that stuff. We would just help you identify where everything's at and give you a condition assessment for it. So that would be $20,000.
20,000 or 40,000, all depends on.
So it'd be 40 if you did both asset management plans, yes.
Any kind of annual fee or anything like that?
Nope, not if you weren't part of the cooperative. We would give you your plan, and, I'd always be available if you guys needed help with funding things later on.
So if we did that, we'd have, and did the GIS, we got $66,000 in it.
Mm-hmm.
Or buy your little package deal and save $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
65. And I just want to say this to council, this GIS thing is something we really need to look at, because we've got one, maybe two people that know which valve to turn on which corner to shut the water down 4 blocks away. Because we've got a lot of valves that aren't working. That would be, and that one guy he could retire tomorrow. That is a valuable asset.
That's true. That's the way it's going anyway. If we don't do it soon, we're gonna get run over by it.
Forced to.
Yes.
And that's the guy we want to talk to before he retires.
Yeah, we need to nail him, tie him down.
And I think your company, they're doing it as they go, correct? I think Rick had mentioned that.
Yeah.
As they're digging and running all
Getting
those
satellite points
GIS,
as they go,
everything.
yeah.
Hitting it as they.
Yeah, anytime anybody's digging up anything in your town, you need to take a look at what's in the hole, because if you got a water or sewer line down there, you want to mark it.
Ask Dan.
But that's where we're at. If you wanted to just try and do the asset management on your own, you can work through the checklist, and I told Jim I'd be available to help him as much as I could with identifying or putting together the financing plan and the capital improvements plan and things like that.
Finance to 65?
You can finance it. You can get a planning loan from the EPA. I think I'm not sure what you'd be eligible for, either 0% if it's a hardship loan, or I believe their small system rate is now like 2.14%. So you can get a loan. There's no grants, but
It's in the budget. It was already budgeted. Yeah.
We talked about this before. It's got-
Yeah, I think it's been in your budget for a while. I just think,
We haven't pulled the
we
trigger.
haven't, you haven't gotten to the point where you're ready to take it on. And that's okay, because it's a big job, so we need you to be ready to work
Our
with
biggest
us.
concern would be, and Jeff, you can chime in if you think I'm speaking out of turn here, but the manpower, we can certainly give it the old college try when it comes to finding all the valves, identifying and getting, all the meter pits and whatnot taken care of. That's gonna take a lot of time.
Right. Well, that's why we gave you the proposal for the option to not include that, and you guys can
Well, I
always
think
spend
we
it.
want to include it as
Okay.
much as we can to save
Okay.
money.
Yeah.
But the good thing about it is, like she said, you go through, then if we find something after the fact, it can be added in after the fact.
Right, with the co-op.
Right into the, right into the.
And I think the co-op's the way to go because it's not our server. We don't have to have somebody
Right.
managing a server for us for hackers and, the dark web or whatever, the boogeyman of the internet.
Yeah.
And that way it's behind their firewall and all taken care of.
And if you are a member of the cooperative, we also have GPS units that we can loan you. So if you know that you've got some time and you want to send guys out to start marking different things, you can borrow those from us at no cost. We'll come out, train you to use them, and then you can get them back to us and we'll upload your data. So,
Sounds wonderful.
It's a good plan.
thanks, Ron.
Why did the EPA mandate the asset management?
I really don't know. I think, I know that there's a lot of water systems that are struggling to meet their requirements, and I think this is just one way of making sure that people are providing a good quality, safe product to people. I'm not entirely sure that the way they've gone about it is the best, but I think it's a good idea. But I think for small systems, like I said, you guys are like right on the cusp of this being a really viable alternative. For people that are smaller than you, it's going to be a real struggle for them to do some of this stuff. So I'm hoping that they'll stay flexible. Again, I think it's a good idea. I just don't always like the method. But I try to make it as painless on you guys as I can when this kind of stuff happens. So
You were there when we met with EPA in my office and Andy was there and Ryan and Alex Schmaley, and they said that sanitary's coming.
It's coming.
That's going to be about a year from now.
Once they figure that out, sanitary will be coming down the road after that. So.
yeah, I've heard that too. So
There's more money. The only.
well, we can knock it all out for you at one time, or you can bite it off one little piece at a time. It's entirely up to you.
Yeah, they make you abide by rules they haven't written yet.
Not if we take it down.
That's the other thing.
But if we do it now,
Oh, I know.
it's 65.
We're a little short.
If we do the $65,000 deal, we would be compliant before it was even effective.
Boy, wouldn't that blow their minds?
They won't be impressed, Ron. No, you can't do anything to impress them.
Roberta, how would the pay plan go? We only have
For-
50,000 in our budget right now, so how would you pay as the work was done?
Yeah, so the billing schedule for the GIS program is at 25, 50, and 75% intervals, and then 95 and 100%. So some of it may get paid out this year, some of it may get paid out next year if if the GIS program, if the data collection piece, I think the contract is set up to be a year long. So it could carry over. In the same way with the asset management plan, we have in here, I think 12 to 18 months to do, they have 12 months not to exceed 2 years. So we would really have up to 2 years to put this all together, and then that could spread your payments out.
I got a question. Just like our sewer and water being a layer of this map, right? Can other utilities, like fiber optic gas?
If you have the data, we can overlay anything you have. Some
So
people
save
have done,
money.
yeah.
If other engineers already got the information, they wouldn't have to go.
Right. So some people have done trees they're a tree city and they want all their trees GPS located. We've got communities that are doing cemeteries. We've got communities that are putting electrical stuff in there. Although there's something with the electrical utility that we can't do. There's some component of that we haven't been able to integrate into the GIS program. I'm not real clear on what that is. But yes, any GPS or GIS data that you have, we can put it into your GIS system. If we have to come out and collect it, that would be a separate contract again in the future, but once you're in the cooperative and once we have your data, we can just continue to add. As far as I know, there are no data or storage limits on what communities can do through the cooperative. We just keep buying more cloud.
So do you want to take this back to the committee, Mike, or are you ready to make a decision tonight?
I don't know, do we want to vote to do it all right now? Ron had a good idea.
I think we ought to at least
Spread it out
vote
next to you.
for Jim to get further in this as far as with financing and talk with Cheryl and how they're gonna distribute the existing money that we have. We can get the ball rolling, I think.
And at that level, the contract would require approval anyways by resolution.
Not if I just did the water and the asset management.
Yeah, if you do the full
Is
thing,
under
the
what I can
65
spend.
The 65 would.
But the 65 would need to be relooked at.
Yeah, I think we would be foolish if we don't do the 65. We need the GIS more than we need the others.
Yeah, and EPA is requiring the other, unfortunately.
Yes, so that just makes a package.
But we have 50,000, that'll cover what we need to do this year. So
Is that
on the
50,000 water and
another
sewer?
15,000 for next year. Need more
That's
than
true.
that,
That's
but-
one other way to look at it.
So I think,
We won't get it all done.
It's in capital projects.
Yeah, it's
vote not to do
water
it,
and sewer.
but continue on.
It's in our capital projects fund.
Okay.
Yeah, and then just,
Yeah, I had no idea what the contract for the GIS was gonna come back at. Because the issue is, we don't have any people on the side of the state that can do the data collection, so they're all coming from the other side, so the travel's a little bit higher for us to get over here.
2,200 afterwards. Right.
You're close, you're
I think we
an hour
just-
away.
I'm not going out in the heat,
I
Mike,
think
come
we
on,
just
you
need
know,
to
I
have
go outside.
legislation, because it sounds like the council members at the table are in agreement with going to 65,000. So we'll have Troy bring the legislation for that.
Okay, and the contract
Okay.
that I sent you was only for the water, so if you want to do the 65,000, I'll have to have them send you a new contract. So maybe I'll just do that anyway, and then you have them both and you can
He'll need,
compare.
Troy will need to see it, yeah.
Okay. Troy, do you have a card? I'm not sure that I have your email. I probably do, but. Okay. I'll make sure to copy you.
We'll take one of
Yeah, I'll
those.
take one.
Only got
Okay,
6,000.
thank you. All right. So get,
We're all
Any other-
agreeing to 65 and to belong to the co-op.
yeah. So like I said, the contract will include a one-year membership in the co-op. And then after that, if you decide to stay in it, we'll just send you a bill for that. If you want out of it, we'll send you your data and you can manage it yourself. Because it will be your data. Some people like to keep the data, we don't. If you don't want us to manage it anymore, it's yours.
Cool. Well, thank you, Roberta.
You're very welcome. See, I didn't take too long.
Roberta has helped us immensely over the last, as long as I've been on council with
Appreciate it.
grant writing,
Send me the updated contract.
proposals, contracts with the engineers,
Finding us money,
finding us money.
utility rates.
Try to catch up with you on Thursday.
Yeah, that's we gotta get that done quick. So,
Okay. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. I was
Thank
just
you.
thanking you for your time.
That was Chicago.
Everybody.
Chicago
Have a
habit.
good night.
You too.
I didn't even ask.
Sometimes you're better off.
You're right beside it. Change it.
I'd probably be like messing with your water meter, I'd get arrested.
He's reaching for the taser.
So we'll, at this time, go to the administrator's report.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I gave Ron a note here that at some point we'll need to go in executive session to discuss personnel. I think Mr. Beverly will take care of that. AEP was out today at the, what was formerly called Froggy Park, Adventure Alley, and they set their 2 poles, they're done. When I got back, I got the email from Elijah Cunningham out of Lima. They're all set to go, the riser's in. All we have to do is when our electrician comes in, runs up the pole to meet the risers, call them and they'll hook us up, and we have to have the inspection passed first, of course. That's part of the state anyway, so once the state inspection's passed, they'll hook us up. So, as far as the plumbing goes, I think that's got maybe a couple hours or a day maybe left of work on it. I don't know, all I saw was the holes in the side of the wall where the drinking fountain will go. So that's all coming along. I think it should be done by the end of the week. I don't know, I probably shouldn't speak too soon, I suppose, but. As far as sidewalks go, the mayor and I discussed that a little bit earlier, and then Ron brought it up during his committee meeting. I found the old priority list that Kent and Diane and perhaps some others had gone through over time, and tied to the priority list is a lot of trees. Where the priority ones were, there was 31 of them, now we're down to 28 or 27 priority one trees. They all need to come down. They all need to come down as soon as possible. And many of those meet two criteria. They're into the sidewalks and they're tearing the sidewalk all up, plus they're dying or dead. Did anybody see the two that we got cut down on Spencerville?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I think.
Yeah, there was no heartwood left at all. Included bark all into the thing. Those limbs could have fell at any time right on that house, and no one would have known it. Well, why'd that happen? Well, the landlord took care of those, and he didn't take a lot of pressure, so that was great. I appreciate the landlord for doing that. But anyway, as far as the trees go, there was a budget for them this year. I don't know what the contractor's gonna charge, but I can't see us getting more than 14 done with the money that was budgeted. So, it all depends on per tree, and there's a lot of other factors, like if it's close to a driveway or close to a sidewalk and he's gotta drop big limbs down, he doesn't wanna bust up a sidewalk and have to pay for that too, so. Is there any other questions on sidewalks or trees?
I had a real quick question. It was about the sidewalk ordinance. If the sidewalk has just a crack in it and it's not upheaved or tilted in any way, form, are we repairing those? Or are they just?
I don't see why we're repairing.
I wouldn't expect us to.
I know I've had a resident come and say, I get letters, but I go out and my sidewalk has a crack in it.
Mike
So I
was
said
taking care of that.
Right.
Zoning officer was taking
I
care of that,
had
because
said to talk to
there
him, and
was
I
a
said I
lady
would
here
double
once
check on
about
that.
I think his letter said to keep an eye on it.
No.
Mike and I had this discussion, and he said that his letters do mention cracks. He sent letters to people that have cracks, and he wanted them to watch them and to contact him before they did anything. So,
I had, last councilman, show me his letter, and he told me that he had talked with Mike, and that Mike told him you don't have to do anything with the crack, just monitor it. He said, it says so in your letter. He handed me the letter, it does not say that.
Right.
It says replace,
It does.
so we need to rectify that.
So we need to review the letter that's going out
Yes,
for clarity.
because I don't care who you get to pour concrete, how good they are, I don't care if they're the best in the world, got a big trophy for it. Concrete is gonna crack.
Yeah.
I don't care who puts it in. It's a dead material, and when things move, it cracks.
I think the concern is if it's a lip is 1 inch or more is what it says,
Right.
and then it becomes a trip hazard, so.
This particular gentleman was told to replace 9 panels, 9 or 4-foot squares, because they were cracked. And if you go down to his house, they are smooth, just cracked.
Okay.
just to tell people, we had a demonstration down in front of Jim's office. A guy came and he, what would you say, that ground down a raised up area that was outside Jim's door. And
probably
I think
inch
it
and a half,
looked real
2
nice.
inches.
And I think in some of these cases around town, I'm encouraging Jim to, let the residents know that that's an option for them. As far as I'm concerned, just get it ground down and for those people that don't want to replace everything if it's too.
Yeah, but usually there's a reason why they're that.
Because of a rut?
Yeah, there's something going on that.
He had a fancy piece of equipment. His was $70 if you look in front of my office where that's ground down. Looks real nice. Him doing it opposed to me with my circular saw and a piece of masonry blade is, mine is probably not gonna look that good. So, I mean, there's.
How much was it?
$70 to do that piece right in front of the office.
Take care of concrete for one slab.
Yeah, the only thing is it weakens
140 to
it.
160 for a 4-foot square.
Yeah, it weakens the concrete over
Where's
time.
these
It opens it up. It's
You got a card from him?
exposed, yeah, it's exposed to the elements, though, when you cut it like that.
He doesn't seal them? He just cuts them?
Yeah, he seals them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I tell you, it's been hard to find. If you had one section that was upheaved and just get that section replaced, everything else is fine. It's hard to find a contractor to come in and just fix that one piece. We've talked about that.
He sets it on there, it's kind of like a planer. You know, just takes it right off like a planer would, only it's offset, so it's pretty slick.
They were doing that at DuPont Hospital the same day that you texted me and said they were doing it up here.
Jim, anything else?
I'm trying to think. We talked about the Defiance Avenue lift station. EPA is gonna want us to put a force main in there all the way to the sewer, but we'll go through water and sewer on that. We've been busy doing all kinds of things. The water department's constantly running around, and we're taking Jimmy away, sometimes Bub away. They're doing a lot of work for the water department. We want to stop doing shut-offs on Fridays. It's just, it's just a communications problem, and it's just kind of like they've got time. If we do the door hanger on Tuesday, they've got 24 hours by Wednesday. We should shut them off on Thursday. Or wait till the weekend so they don't call and lie and get somebody to come out to the garage, and then they look at the list and say, oh, wait a minute, their water main's not broken. They're on the shut-off list because they didn't pay their bill. And that then justifies that guy coming out on his own time and getting overtime. So I just think it's counterproductive to shut people off over the weekend, you know? That's just my opinion. We eliminated that before the electric side a long time ago. Shut them off on Thursday. They'll be in on payday.
I was
to
gonna
pay
say,
their bill.
and to be fair about it, a lot of the people try to take care of it right away, and if they don't get home from work till Friday at 4, now they gotta
Right.
try and call somebody, or now they're behind in their bill, obviously.
But that's what payment arrangements
Yeah.
are for.
Yeah.
If they make a payment arrangement, can I pay you Monday?
Right.
Yes. Monday by 9 o'clock, or, you know, if you haven't dropped it in over the weekend, Monday by 9 o'clock, you're shut off.
Right.
So I think that's what we ought to be doing.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Someone raise a hand? No? Okay.
Jim, what about the
What about-
cleanup on,
The vac truck,
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's in the minutes. I didn't know if I was gonna bring it up or not, or.
Let's get it done. Let's get this back truck thing going.
Done.
This has been dragged out long enough. These guys need a back truck.
We just talked about it at the finance meeting.
I knew.
Did you guys make a decision?
pay for it? 100% no financing
New.
Yes.
with all the equipment
I
they
mean,
need.
is there any reason why we just can't go with this? These guys have been waiting for.
State purchasing?
Right.
Okay.
The finances is there
Excellent.
for committee 3-0.
You know, we took ours to Antwerp and went over there, and they were very happy, even though we were spewing all over it.
Any legislation?
buy it?
No legislation needed. You're okay with that? Does anyone want to make a motion and take a vote on it? Just for the record?
I make a motion that we buy the brand-new vac truck at state pricing and pay 100%, no leasing.
Try to take it down. I'll talk to him about,
Yeah.
I'll second.
It's 327.
Roll call, please.
Baker,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Jones.
What about a new one, Hart?
Ridgway.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Should have bought a new one.
All right, anything else, Jim?
No, Mayor.
All right.
Okay, Paver Drive, new lights, cleanup, who's responsible? I've had several ask.
We're still working on that. I was supposed to have a letter from the contractor today. They want to try one more time to negotiate. The lights are American Electric Power. They will come out and fix their trenches, obviously, once everything's done. There's 2 homeowners that had issues in the easement. They had some structures on the easement or in the easement, and that's a no-no. So AEP was trying to do the right thing and not just barge in there and move their structure or, move it out of the way. So they've got to either bore under it or figure something out with the homeowner. When they're all done, they'll come back and they'll fix all the trenches in there.
Okay, that's what they wanted to know.
Yep, definitely. On the end is really bad.
Bills.
Your neighbor on the end
Bills.
going, yeah, bills.
Okay, that's what they want to know.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions for Jim? Then we will go on to the solicitor's report.
Before I get started, along with the executive session, the thing on the agenda regarding to what Kim wants to talk about, that needs to be done in executive session as well. Possible litigation. So when we get to that, add that. The first thing I have is third reading of ordinance 2018-04 by caption only, an ordinance authorizing the village fiscal officer to transfer funds.
So move.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Next is the first reading of ordinance 2018-05 by caption only, an ordinance amending chapter 951 of the codified ordinances of the village of Hicksville, Ohio regarding refuse collection. And basically, I went through the whole section and had to eliminate and rework some things because of our changeover to using Whirler to pick up. And so it's mostly definitional stuff and pulling some things out. So if people want to look at that, have any questions or whatever, we still got 2 more readings on that.
You looked at it real good, Sheila?
Did I?
Will you? You will, I presume.
I will know.
Then resolution 2018-04, first reading by caption only, a resolution of the village of Hicksville, Ohio, authorizing the fire chief to dispose of property no longer needed for public use as it is obsolete or unfit for the use for which it was acquired and it has no value pursuant to revised code 721.15. And I left blanks in there because I still have, and let me know if there's something, I'm not a fireman, but through my head, the type of equipment I assumed you were talking about. So if there's something on there that you don't have any of, we could put a 0 in, and if there's something on there that I left off, we can add that in, but.
I get a copy of that.
Yeah.
Cheryl.
This is a one-time thing?
Yeah, that's they got the leftover turnout gear, and they have somebody that's willing to do some sewing for them, and they can,
But it's not ongoing.
right. Yeah, it's a one-time. I just need the numbers of the pieces that go with that. And then on my other pending items, I've had multiple discussions with the new Sherwood solicitor. He's sending the notice to Rita that they'll be opting out. He's getting with, I talked to him last week about that, getting with their clerk so that they can get their notice in on time, and then we can finalize the contract. I have a proposed, it's got a lot of blanks in it, but Diane had asked regarding the beautification committee. We technically can't pass this until we have a truck, and we'll also need to identify specifically in my review of the information from Conrad, and maybe it's 6 people, maybe, I don't even know how many people are on the beautification committee, but we'll need to, we can't just say anybody that's a member of the beautification committee. We need to say Joe Smith, Jane Doe, whatever is authorized. Basically, we consider them to be authorized volunteers with permission to operate whatever the type of truck is purchased by the village for that use. And then what that does is, from a liability and insurance perspective, allows us to purchase the truck, allows our insurance that we have with Conrad to insure it, and then if something would happen while they're in the operation of it, so long as it's in their duties as, they can't take it on their own and go do something with it and have it covered. Like anything else, like a village truck. If you take it on a joyride or something like that, likely not to be covered, but I have that done and ready to go, so wherever that needs to go from that point on. RCAP, like Roberta covered that a lot better than I could ever address, but she's gonna send me the contract, so we'll get that coming on. And then I did send a week ago or so, and I haven't heard back of you. I sent a letter to Underground Utilities, the substance of which was what we talked about at our last meeting. That, now, to clarify, after Jim went back and looked at Kent's notes, we're not sure where the $9,000 figure come from. It actually was in water lost. It was water lost in supplies that we had to use in order for our people to fix it. It was $1,195.05. And then there was an additional amount of $596 that was owed for some supplies that they borrowed when they were here directly from Jesse. And that was spelled out. What Kent had on his bulletin board was actually a letter that Jesse had sent to them, asking, explaining what had happened, how they found it, how they determined how much water had been lost, because the meter inside the house was still functioning, so they could tell how much the homeowner was being charged for, and then how much had gone through where the leak was, and so that's how they came up with the number and the amount. But I basically sent them a letter that said they've asked for us to release the retainage. We're still waiting for reimbursement for the water, that $11.95 plus the $5.95 or whatever it was.
Mhm.
And waiting for them to complete the items on their punch list and everything like that, and that when those things are done satisfactorily to the village, and I didn't specify who or whatever, but the village, I said then the village council would authorize the releasing of the retainage less any amounts owed to the village.
Does Cheryl have a copy of that?
She does not, but I can give her one. It's right there.
She needs one for her file.
Okay, yep, I'll give it to her. So I haven't heard anything. Evidently, it didn't fire anybody up enough that Jim got any frantic calls or anything yet. Maybe it hasn't made its hands into the right person's hands.
Got one today, pretty late.
Oh, yeah. So.
From Morgan?
No, from Mike Prenat.
Oh.
So.
They were gonna try to get us.
And they're still trying to negotiate on the stuff that you guys already said that you're not gonna pay.
The linear grading.
The linear grading.
Yeah, they're trying to negotiate on that.
Which everybody took a motion and said, tell them pound salt, basically. Which I agree with, in case anybody wants to know. I mean, the question I had for Jim, that just because I was curious, and maybe, I don't know how those quotes go, maybe it's not spelled out good enough, but I wonder if the other contractors had similar figures for that in there, if their quotes are broken down enough that you could look at it and see, are they making similar quotes, or did some people do it right and that's why they didn't have the lowest bid?
I'm gonna see if I can find that.
I don't know if the quotes are specific enough.
But if the prints tell you to cut a ditch and the flow line will be 3 foot, 4 foot wide, and it'll be at this elevation, and that elevation leaves you 4 foot higher than the top, then you have to maintain specified slope, 2 to 1,
Right.
3 to 1, whatever. So if you maintain the slope, maintain the bottom, pretty well took care of your grading.
Right.
It's already done. That's called digging a ditch.
Right. So.
Well, the contention, and I don't wanna go back and beat a dead horse, and it's in there, it's in the letter. It states, and they bid this, it's in the bid, it's in the contract. 350 cubic yards would be removed, excavation, and 350 cubic yards would be placed. So it was kind of a wash. That was just the excavation and the embankment. The linear grading then was separate, and they addressed that by their letter that said, we don't agree. And that was the letter I presented at a council meeting ago or so, that they said because somebody made the comment, why didn't they find this out before they bid? They did ask EMHT that in that letter. That's why I presented that letter. The problem is they didn't get the answer they wanted to hear, and they got the bid anyway. So it's looking more and more like, once again, you got the engineering firm here who, made a mistake on quantities, and the contractor's gonna pay for it. So since we have a contract with them, they want us to pay for it. because they actually did the work. And that seems like it's always the way it goes. I would rather drag the engineering firm in and say, no, get your money from them, because they're the ones that screwed up. So, anyway.
Yeah, that explains it.
My boring diatribe.
No,
Okay.
that explains it. That's what I have till the executive session.
All right, that's all you got, Troy?
Yep.
All right. We will go on to the department heads then. Chief Stickney?
Okay, bring you an update. You'll have the April report there. Our software that we purchased, the go live date has been moved up to tomorrow. It's not 100% live, but about 75 to 80% of it will be live. So that is coming along quite nicely, and it will be the go live date, the starting date that we'll be using it will be tomorrow.
Is that just for you guys, Kirk, or is that for?
No, it's for the entire county. That's countywide. Defiance County Sheriff, Defiance City PD, and us. We are working on a list of junk vehicles. I know I announced that last time we were going to start on. We have started on that. We are compiling a list. We'll be coming around with notices, summons, and such soon. I did mention to you, Mayor, about the swearing in. With there being an executive session, could we go ahead and move that up to now? Would that be
Sure.
okay?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, then.
Form.
We have Chris Taylor here. You guys voted to hire him, and he has been completed his physical, and the background check's all complete, so he's here tonight to meet you and to be sworn in.
Sure.
Where do I go? Right there in the middle, I think.
Be in a hot seat.
And then repeat after me, and I will try to break this up small enough so it's. Okay. I, Chris Taylor,
I, Chris Taylor,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Constitution
the Constitution
of
of
the State of Ohio,
the State of Ohio,
and the ordinances of the Village of Hicksville,
and the ordinances of the Village of Hicksville,
Defiance County, Ohio.
Defiance County, Ohio.
I will well and truly serve the Village of Hicksville
I will well and truly serve the Village of Hicksville
as a police officer
as a police officer
without favor or affection,
without favor or affection,
malice or ill will,
malice or ill will,
that I will see or cause
that I will see or cause
our community's peace
our community's peace
to be kept and preserved,
to be kept and preserved,
that I will prevent,
that I will prevent,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
all offenses against that peace,
all offenses against that peace,
and that,
and that,
while I continue to be a police officer,
while I continue to be a police officer,
discharge all duties thereof
discharge all duties thereof,
faithfully,
faithfully,
according to law,
according to law,
so help me God.
so help me God. Thank you very much.
Do you have a pen? I don't have a pencil.
Do I have to sign that
Thank
picture?
you. Right there.
One word of it.
And we thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Years ago.
Sign it later.
We thank you very much for that. Appreciate that, bringing him on. Did want to let you guys know that we are trying to be a little bit budget conscious. We do have some guys that have worked a lot of extra hours, and they're going to be taking comp time instead of overtime. So we are trying to utilize that program to save us a little bit of money and get some part-timers in here like Chris to work and help us out. Does anybody have any questions this time?
I would just like to comment during the month of April, which is what your report says. In speeding, you gave 4 citations and 35 warnings for those people who think that they're being mistreated by the police department.
Yes.
Can you briefly discuss what we discussed about the HVAC unit?
So
okay.
everybody knows what's
Sure, I
going
was
on.
waiting, I haven't had a quote yet on it.
Okay.
So I don't really know figures-wise what we're talking about. We approved in our last, or you guys approved in our last year's budget, or the budget for this year, to replace the heating and air conditioning unit that's for the back bay. And right now, we're having problems with the air conditioning unit that's for the offices. What I'm doing is I've called the person who had the low bid the last time and asked them to come out and take a look at the rooftop unit that's for the regular office and see what it would cost to combine this into one unit that would not be on the rooftop, because all we've had is problems with leaky roofs and things caused by that thing being up there. So we are going to go ahead and get a quote on that, the combined unit, to see what it will cost, and then I'll be coming back to you to decide whether or not we want to go ahead and just replace the one unit, one larger unit, rather than replace them two separately. Right now, we're just kind of suffering through a little bit of this kind of temperature inside, so that's what we're looking at. Hopefully, replacing the rooftop unit would end the leaks, and it would make a lot more sense to me anyway to have it on the ground rather than up on top of the roof.
And the rooftop unit, if you remember, was close to...
It's aging.
Yeah, it was, Kent and the chief talked about replacing it too this year, and chief thought it might last another year or two.
We were hoping, but we had the repair people and our village workers as well there last year several times, and it's not.
Keeping our fingers crossed. Thanks.
Yep.
Anything else? Anybody have any questions for him? No. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yep.
Fire Chief Kramer? I hope your firewoman didn't mind being referred to as a fireman.
The only thing I really have is this Saturday, May 12th, is our association reverse drawing, and we still have tickets available if anybody'd like to go see a fireman.
Great.
That's all I have. Any questions for me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. EMS Chief Silcott.
Before we get started, I'd like to let you know that in the month of April, the EMS responded to 50 calls. And I would like to thank the councilman, I won't mention names, that said that he thought we were kind of slow, and within 15 minutes, we had two back-to-back. I wasn't going to throw you under the bus. At the last meeting, Councilman Beverly had asked for a breakdown of the different insurances and things like that concerning the write-off. For me to do that, I would have to go back through each and every run report from 2010 to 2014. And quite honestly, I don't have the time to do that. But what I was able to do is I was kind of able to piece together some stuff from the software. Unfortunately, the old software does not have that capabilities. The new software does. So I gave you a packet earlier. As you can tell in your totals, the total amount billed from 2010 to 2014 was $485,000 and some change. Total amount past due or due is $129,000. Of that, payments, there was payments and insurance, which included Medicaid, Medicare, and private insurance. 15,000 of that is insurance co-pays and your Medicare co-pays. You have $11,000 in no transport fees. Pretty much those are fees that when we go out and somebody says, well, thanks for picking me up, we send them a $110 bill and they just never got paid. No insurance or payment. This is kind of where the bulk of everything is coming from. No insurance doesn't mean that they don't have insurance. It's just that I don't have anything in the software to show me that they did. That's $102,000. For the total amount for the 5 years, we billed 1,168 runs. out of that, there's 42% have balances. And out of that, you have another 6%, which are runs under $100. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, why does that matter? Because on January 21st, 2013, this council approved if a patient is uninsured or underinsured and the amount they owe is under $100, the balance will be written off. So that pretty much tells me that you had, at that time, given the authority to whoever was doing the billing to write off anything under $100. You also, when it was revised in July 2nd, 2014, added, if they feel the amount due is a financial hardship, they can fill out the proper paperwork to request a waiver from the village council. Basically, the way that would work would probably be they would request a waiver from me, and I would come to you and request that waiver. The village will use the Hill-Burton guidelines 2 times the poverty level. And just to let you know, I added the 2018 poverty levels. So you're there. 2018 billing, which is about the 3rd page in. For those that think that EMS is free, I have news for you. It is not. Medicaid, we have billed so far this year, and these are not up to date, because that total bill, $45,000, that is off by $20,000. I have now billed $65,000 so far this year. Medicaid, we have billed $14,063. We have received $2,390. Medicaid pays 17%.
You're not going to get any more.
And you're not going to get any more. And I have, and just to let you know, the final page, I took that right off of Medicaid's website. It shows you the maximum payment. Just for your information, we bill $10 per mile for every loaded mile. Medicaid pays $1.47. And your Medicaid is roughly 1/3 of your runs. Insurance is only 6%. It's less than 10%. So your Medicaid and Medicare are over 80% of the amount of the runs that were being billed. The reason why I bring this up is because I have heard, that, we should be able to at least break even make a little money. You're not doing that with Medicaid. Not at all. I will tell you this, that I have, and I pretty much been in contact with Cheryl a lot, and I talked to PFE, and I talked to the mayor a lot. I will tell you this, I am doing everything in my power to get these costs under control and to make sure that this EMS can be sustained for a longer period of time. I appreciate all the kind words that each and every one of you have, but I think that you guys need to know this. So what I'm asking is I need final approval to write off the $129,287 from 2010 to 2014, and I need council's approval to go ahead and per guidelines, write off anything under $100, 2015, 2016, 2017. And for those of you who are wondering, when I took over as chief, there was $65,000 still outstanding. And from 2017, that number is now down to $42,000.
Bruce, first off, I'd like to thank you for this. It does help us have a general idea of what's going on there, dollar-wise. And secondly, I would like to make a motion to do everything that Bruce said.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Baker.
Yes.
Thank you. That is all I have.
Yeah, thank you for.
I know the camera will be on. Who is?
I didn't.
Say a word.
All right. And Rick, you're done, right, with park report? All righty. We'll go on to the fiscal officer's report. Cheryl?
Okay, in your packet, you have all of the April reports, the month-to-date, year-to-date cash report, income tax collections, utility collections, the revolving loan fund report, the mayor's court report. The MediaCom this time is for the whole first quarter. And I also put in, for the second time, the liquor license transfer to make sure nobody has any objections for that.
Has anybody heard any comments from the public about the liquor license transfer request?
Not a word.
I haven't either. Okay.
That's all I've got.
All right. We'll go ahead and, I think you had a paper to send in regarding that we're not going to request a hearing. Okay.
Right.
And then real quickly, do you have something?
Kim?
That's with the executive session.
Oh. Litigation, personnel, and
Well, the mayor, you can finish your stuff.
I'm going to do my report real quick.
economic development.
But yeah, economic development also, that's what I was trying to think of. First of all, I would just, this is just community stuff, pretty much. The Kiwanis has redid the welcome sign out at the cemetery. It's a very clear red and white, mentions Hicksville schools, has an H off to the side, ACES. And there's pictures here of the front side and the back side, and I believe it's their intentions to redo all of the welcome signs coming into Hicksville, but I know in front of Fort Worth Tower, I believe their plan is to use some materials from Fort Worth Tower.
Neat.
So it's gonna be looking a little different. I don't know if anybody knows how it's gonna look, but it's gonna have some Fort Worth Tower materials in it. And then I received in the mail today to Mayor Collins and the village council members, I'd like to extend to you a special invitation to attend the 2018 Hicksville High School commencement on Sunday, June 3rd at 2 o'clock. And there is an RSVP, so if you are going, please call the school, Anita Daniels at the school. You can email her or call 7665 by Friday, May 18th. And then I have a flyer here that was brought to me by the county commissioners, Lunch on the Road. Please join the commissioners and other elected officials for lunch. Stop by and share your ideas, questions, or concerns regarding our community. Friday, May 18th, 11:30 to 1. It's at Jig's Root Beer Stand on Holgate Avenue in Defiance. Rain or shine. Due to limited seating, you may want to bring a lawn chair. Again, Lunch on the Road with the Commissioners, Friday, May 18th, 11:30 to 1, Jig's Root Beer Stand. And then I want to bring to the attention of the, perhaps the ordinance committee, if you read your Cities and Villages magazine, you'll see an article in here about small cells in the right-of-way. This is a very hot topic at conferences, mayors and OML, because companies are coming in and putting these small cells on our poles and really any place they want downtown, unless you choose to make some rules about where they can be put. So you guys might want to think about that. I personally don't want small cells put any place somebody wants to all over town, but if you don't care, that's fine.
What's a small cell?
They're boxes. They're boxes for, I don't think they have any pictures, but they're just boxes for wireless
Internet?
internet that they can just put on our downtown poles if they want to. I've heard of that in some of the meetings I've went to.
Would that be illegal?
We don't have any rules against it.
We don't have any.
Depends on Depends on the output.
Yeah, but right.
The FCC output.
Because they have to pay for attachments to our poles.
Yeah. FCC allows so much. You can have your own radio station in your home, as long as you don't put out too much output.
So you might want to read that article, see what you can learn about it. And then Hicksville's annual town-wide yard sale, June 1st and 2nd, 9 to 6. There's a vendor area to be announced. To participate, contact Carrie Wan. Her number is out on the front door of the municipal building. And then they're also taking Hi's chicken pre-orders, and the number is out on the window at the front door. There's an open house tomorrow at Johnson Memorial Library, May 8th, all day. Celebrate our new community room with door prizes and light refreshments. That's at the library tomorrow, an open house to see their new community room. Community Memorial Hospital is having an on-site job fair Wednesday, Thursday, May 8th and 9th, 1 to 6. And bring your resume, and they have all the current job openings listed. All this information is on the front window of the municipal building.
It's the 9th and 10th.
Did I repeat it wrong, say it wrong?
Is it 8th and 9th?
Oh, 9th and 10th,
This
yep.
coming.
Wednesday and Thursday, 9th and 10th, sorry. I'd have you read these. Woodland and Wildlife Family Festival, June 23rd at Pontiac Park in Defiance. They've got free pontoon and kayak rides, free admission, live music, food and vendors. The Fairy Tale Network at the Huber is a summer youth theater program, kids program for ages 6 to 10. The workshop dates are June 12th, 13th, 14th, June 19th, 20th, and 21st, 9:30 to 2. There's a performance on June 21st at 7. Registration information is on the Huber website. And this sounds like a really nice thing for children to get involved in with stage production at the Huber. There's a kids outdoor science camp, June 4th to 7th at Camp Palmer. And a lot of fun things going on there. I don't see a cost involved, but Kids Outdoor Camp, June 12th to 14th, 9 to 11:30 at Penny Nature Center in Defiance for kids finishing K, first and second grade. That's by the Defiance Soil and Water Conservation District. The kids will participate in fun activities to explore woods, creeks, meadows, and wetlands at Penny Nature Center. Summer Manufacturing Camp in Hicksville, July 24th to the 27th. I'm also looking for volunteers to help us with that manufacturing camp. Its cost is $50, but there's scholarships available. We'll be visiting different industries in town. Your community plant sale, Mother's Day weekend, this Friday and Saturday, out at the Township Building, where it's been the last few years. Friday, 8 a.m. to 6, Saturday, 9 to 1. And you can come and get all your planting needs, vegetables, flowers. We'll even plant them for you if you bring your pot. Johnson Memorial, I did the open house already. And I guess I would like the Street Property and Light Committee to take a walk through the pavilion, particularly check out the cupboards there. Some of the drawers seem to just kind of fall out if you pull them, and I don't know, maybe you would like to look at that and see if you think some repairs are needed. Other than that, Ken had painted and everything, and the pavilion looks pretty good, but.
Key required for that?
Yeah, you'll need a key, but I think that the cabinets are looking or working kind of difficultly. And then I'm meeting out at the school on May 29th with ODOT, because some of our local residents must have sent some emails to ODOT about the congestion at the school, and it's got their attention. So they're coming May 29th to talk about the congestion out at the school on May 29th, which is a good thing. So that is all I have. And now I would entertain a motion to go into executive session for all three of those issues that you mentioned.
litigation? No, I just.
Hold on a second, Ron.
Economic.
I think Tom.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just,
He wanted to speak.
Okay.
I
Yep,
didn't get him on the
that's fine.
agenda last
I'm
week.
here for the Cornerstone Church,
Okay,
and we would like to purchase or something, piece of land that you guys just bought by our church, probably 25 feet, to put a driveway so we can go in and out. So I figured you might want to discuss it when you're in your meeting, but
Sorry about that.
that's all right. Anyway, that's what I would like to find out. If
does anyone have any questions for him about that, while he's here?
It's right there by
You
the
guys understand how much you want. and-
25 feet, I think will be
So
enough
it'd
for
be
a
about a
driveway.
fourth of that lot, right?
Huh?
About a fourth of the lot, and 100-foot wide or 90-foot wide.
Probably.
Okay.
There's a tree there, you can only go so far.
The fire hydrant.
Tree there.
Oh.
And there's a fire hydrant on the other side, and one of their cable boxes they just put in, so you gotta stay about 6 feet off your line to even start.
Was you at the auction?
Pardon? Yes,
Was
I
you
was.
at-
Yeah. And we bid on that one. We only wanted one set. We didn't want it all anyway, so. If we could just work something
You
out.
had it. You had it at one point,
For a
right?
while, yeah, till they put them all together.
We'll have, Jim get back with you when we know
That'll be
anything,
fine.
okay?
That'll be fine, thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thanks for coming. Is there anyone else that would like to say anything before we go into executive session? Okay. We had a motion. Did we get
I'll
it? Okay, and we have a second to go into executive session.
Ridgway,
Yes.
Yes.
Jones. Baker,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Beverly, Barth.
Yes.
Oh,